What's up, guys? It's here, coming at you with another retro deck profile. Today we're going to look at Lazaro Bellido's top 16 Shonen Jump Columbus zombie deck. This list features Krebons and Emergency Teleport. So there were three kind of zombie lists that went around during this event. There was one that played a Destiny Hero engine, one that played the Emergency Teleport and the Krebons engine, and then there was another one that played Deep Sea Diva as the other tuner. So it's kind of really interesting to see which route your deck took. I really like the Diva ones because I like Diva as a card just because I love Mermails, but I also really like this list as well. It's really fun. It's really explosive, and I really enjoy playing it. So let's get right into the list. Plus, it plays in a little bit bigger of a zombie engine. We have the 2 Mezuki. This card was semi-limited during the time, but this is a really cool way to recur your zombies, to extend your plays, and to keep going with what you were doing. So we have the 2 Mezukis. 2 Goblin Zombies. These are your Searcher. You essentially want to use this card to synchro summon to search. You can tribute summon it, but it is your main heart and soul of the deck really for the zombie engine. The fact that it lets you search any zombie and kind of continue your plays. Like I said, this zombie engine is a little bit bigger, so we actually get to play 2 copies of Pyramid Turtle. This card, when it's destroyed by battle, you can go get a zombie from your deck, 2,000 defense or less. You can get itself if you just want to keep floating them to make sure you get there. It's a really cool card, and it's an Earth, so you don't lose to Shadow Mirror, which is really nice. Same with Mezuki and things like that. They're Earth, so you can Shadow Mirror or play around your opponent's Shadow Mirror, which is a really common side deck card for the Lightsworn engine. And then we have 1 Plaguespreader, the reusable tuner, get 2 uses out of it. We can put it back with Burial and things like that, so we can really get a lot of uses out of our Plaguespreader. And then the 1 of Zombie Master. This is a really good card when later on in the game, when our graveyard is full of zombies, discard a card, go get a zombie, and then you can get Plaguespreader and synchro summon, which is really cool. 2 Mystic Tomatoes, just a little further the dark engine to go get Goblin Zombie from the deck, get Plaguespreader from the deck, get Sangan from the deck, things like that. We have 2 Caius. A really cool card. You can sit on a Krebons or something like that in order to get this card off, or you can just float your Pyramid Turtles. You can use Mezuki to bring back Goblin Zombie to get this card off. I really like the inclusion of Caius in this deck. It's really fun. For some additional tuners, we have the 2 Krebons. We only have 1 teleport this format. Card was limited for a while up until 2012. We don't want to let Teledad play. God forbid we have a tier 0 deck. Even though there are a lot more come right after it. So tier 0 decks tend to stay on the ban list just a little bit longer, especially when they're not an archetype. So only 1 teleport. So we just play the 2 Krebons, but we also play one Gale as an additional tuner. It's really good against things like Stardust and things like that. Just be able to cut, and it's an additional dark target for Allure of Darkness. 1 Sangan as well. It searches out a lot of the deck, so we play the 1 of Sangan. And then we have some bigger guys. We have our 1 Dark Armed, our 1 Gorz, and of course 1 Trag. Trag was at 3. It wasn't limited yet, but we're only playing 1, and we are playing another actually in the side deck. And we will move on to the spells here. The aforementioned 1 of Teleport. I actually don't like the ultis. If you're wondering why the whole deck is super blinged out and this is just the original Ultra, not a fan of the ultis. It's one of the few cards I don't really like ulti. The other being Stratos, if you saw the Airman deck profile. 2 Burial from the Different Dimension. This was a way to put back your Mezukis. It was a way to put back your Plague after you had used it. The card was really cool, and it's actually really funny if your opponent Goldsarks for a monster, and you just plop it back in their deck. Goldsark was pretty relevant during this time period, so it was really funny if your opponent would Burial or Goldsark for a Judgment Dragon, and then you just burial their Judgment Dragon back to their graveyard and they don't get it. So that is a quite comical interaction. I really like that part about this card, that it allows you to hit your opponents as well as your own. 2 Allure of Darkness to draw cards. We play plenty of darks. This card is live, no issue. So we have the 2 allures to make sure we can, draw into our deck, dig deeper, get what we need. We have the 1 of Creature Swaps card combos really well with Pyramid Turtle, as well as Goblin Zombie and things like that. Mystic Tomato. It's just a really good spell card all around in order to, make sure we can get our opponents. Like Stealing Judgment Dragon is just insane, especially if it's the only card they have up because they paid 1,000. So they pay 1,000, they only have the Judgment Dragon, and then you just take the Judgment Dragon from them. One My Body, again, stops Judgment Dragon. This card's really good against that. If there was Ick Attack and Blackwing, this card, just really good. One Burning Control, pretty staple. Works really well with Caius too because we actually have access to a tribute monster. So we're not just, and we have access to more tuners than most of the decks because we have Plague, and we have the E-Telly targets, and we have the Gale. We just have a bunch of targets for being able to synchro summon. One Vortex because we don't have Dark Hole, and we don't mind discarding a lot of our zombies. Chuck them in the graveyard. 2 Book of Moon, kind of a staple defensive card. 1 Heavy Storm, and 1 the limited MST. Move on to the traps here. We have the 1 of Dust Tornado to go along with the 1 space. Space limited, we want to make sure we have enough back row removal. 1 Call the Haunted to extend our synchro plays and things like that. Get your fodder for Caius, all that good stuff. 1 Torrential Tribute, clear the board, and then the 2 Bottomless as well. These are your kind of your summon stoppers. 1 Wing Blast. Same thing with discarding. We don't mind doing it. So same thing with the Vortex. We just have the 1 of Wing Blast. We don't want to play too many. 1 Deep Prison. Interesting to see he went with this over the 1 of Mirror Force. But Deep Prison's still really good. And then the 1 of Solemn Judgment. Kind of say no to anything. I miss from this card. I like playing formats with this cards at 3. It's really fun. And then Perfect Circle. We'll move on to the X deck here. The only 5 is the 1 Catastor. Card's really good. Just the only 5. I mean, the fact that you can make it and run into a Judgment Dragon is really nice. Really, to be able to not fear Honest is really important in that matchup because that card is at 3. This format was insane for Lightsworns. For me, this format was the most broken Lightsworn format of all time in terms of when they were at their highest point. It's September with 3 Trags. For 6s, we play a lot of 6s because we have Plague and the Krebons, and we have a ton of 4s in our zombie engine. So we have the 1 Goyo, the 2 Brio. This was really cool because, again, we don't mind discarding some of the cards in here, and this was a great way to do that as well as be able to clear our opponent's boards. Putting Wolf back into your opponent's hand is really fun. 1 Revived King. This card is really good in the mirror, especially when you're running over like a Pyramid Turtle. All right, so 2 Doomkaiser Dragon. This card is absolutely insane for stealing your opponent's plagues because it gets the effect not when it is synchro summoned, but when it is special summoned. And there's no level restriction on Mezuki. So the fact that you can, let's say, sink 6 into this, steal your opponent's like Plaguespreader, make an 8 with that Plaguespreader, then banish Mezuki to summon this back, and then take Plaguespreader again, and then make another 8. It's just insane. This card is so good in that regard. The fact that it says special summon and not synchro summon is what makes it just so good. 1 Tempest Magician for the last 6. We play a lot of spellcasters in the side deck, so it's in time kind of thing. For 7s, we have the 1 of Black Rose Dragon and the 1 of Armor Master because we play Gale, and this card is really good. And then for 8s, we have 5 8s. We have 2 Stardust Dragons, pretty staple of the time. Interesting to see he went with double Colossal rather than playing like a Thought Ruler or a Red Dragon. He decided to go with double Colossal Fighter, but this card is really good, so I completely understand this card's insane. And then we have the 1 of Dark End Dragon. The fact that we can just, use its effect to pay or lose attack and just get rid of a card, and it's a send. This card's nuts. Really big fan. And we'll get on to the side deck here. We have 2 Doomcows. Just for a lot of the rogue matchups and things like that. Not a ton of effects going on, but I mean, it's a 1900 beat stick and it's really good turn 1. So for me, the big side deck card here is the 3 Kaikus. This card is nuts. This card puts so much pressure on your opponent when you're playing against Twilight. when you're playing against Lightsworns, the fact that you can just try and chip cards out of their names out of their grave, or in the mirror you can get rid of those Mezukis and those plagues to make them force them to use it early, because this card just hinders them so much. The fact that you put this on the board and they can't Mezuki is just, it's awesome. This card's really good. 1 breaker and then 1 Trag as like an OTK stopper. Is the last card here, or for last monster. For spells, we have just 1 Lightning Vortex and 1 Smashing Ground to kind of, clear out some extra monsters. For traps, we have another Dust Tornado, mostly to hit cards like Shadowmere and things like that. But this card is also really good in order to hit Black Whirlwind. Another card that hits Black Whirlwind pretty well is 2 Trap Hole, because of the ruling of it has to read the monster's attack points, so it has to be on the field. So if you Book of Moon and a Trap Hole on the summon, they're not allowed to search. This card really hurts Blackwings because they have to control Blackwing to special summon all the Blackwings from their hand. So if they go normal summon Shura, you go Trap Hole. All those, Boras and Gales and things like that are just dead. You don't have to worry about Kalut. Card's just really good against that matchup. And then for me, the big side deck card, 3 Light Mirrors. So for Lightsworns, they would side deck 3 Shadow Mirrors, and the zombie deck side decks 3 Light Mirrors. And if you draw it and they don't have the names, this card after they see Judgment Dragon, it's pretty tough, because you still have to deal with that 3000 beat stick. But if you see this card before they can get to their 4 names, it is insane. And it's actually really funny that Lightsworns would also side Breaker rather than a 3rd Lila, because Breaker can pop Light Mirror. And Lila can't, so I always thought that was really funny to see 2 Lilas in the main deck, but a Breaker in the side rather than Lila, because they needed to get rid of Shadowmere. So the Shadow and the Light Mirrors were just running everywhere in the side decks. There's actually a deck in 2007, 2008, Gladiator Beast, that won a Shonen Jump against Dad Return because it was just main decking Shadowmere. So it wasn't Gladiator Beast that won the event, it was main deck Shadowmere. So there will be some duels in description. Let me know what you guys think of the deck. Be sure to like and subscribe for more retro format content, and thanks for watching, guys.